some family friends who actually do it, and I got all the scoop on it from them, and they said it wasn't too bad.
You've only got to put up with the little monsters for what, 2 hours each shift?
Yeah, but in the beginning stage, they let you drive as a sub monitor.
Oh, okay.
Or be on the bus, not drive. But while I'm
Sure.
training, and the purpose of that is so you can see what age group and everything you're most compatible with.
Yeah.
And so I've been in schools a lot when I was in business and in school rooms fixing digital pianos and what have you. And I
was in schoolrooms a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. I much prefer the little ones. They're like a comedian I heard one time say. He says they're God made them cute so you won't kill them.
Yeah.
And the middle schoolers they can keep. They've checked their brains for a couple of years. And the high schoolers are pretty much asleep all the time, so that's not a big challenge. But those middle schoolers can be they like to get real mouthy and pretend like they know everything. But I'll drive whatever bus they want me to drive. Norman has a monitor on each bus, so
really,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so the driver can concentrate on driving, and that's what they want the driver to do, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah. But, in the old days, had to look up in that mirror above you and yell back, I told you to sit down. Don't make me pull this over.
I remember.
And they got cameras on Norman buses and
I'm sure
staff that'll actually back you when you turn in a report. So,
okay, that's pretty important.
Yeah. So I'm pretty stoked about it. I took a year and a half off after I retired and got a bunch of stuff around the house done and everything, and
now they've decided you need a job.
Well,
everybody else in the house.
I decided.
Oh, you decided. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't like being bored. I've never been bored, I don't think, but I've come close to it here lately. So I figured I'd do something. And this is a really neat gig, Peter. It's you get paid, even though you only work a certain number of hours a year, you get paid all year. Whenever the kids are off, you're off.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty neat because there's not too many other jobs that give you the opportunity to spend as much time with family and stuff around, holidays and break periods and stuff like that. So anyway, it's and I'm collecting Social Security, so I didn't really need anything that was going to pay me a lot of money.
Right.
Lynn is still doing her travel nursing thing. I don't know when that's going to end. And hopefully at the end of this next assignment, simply because I think COVID is going away to the point where I think they're going to go up to the people and say, hey, time to go to the house.
Somebody call my name.
I heard it.
Hey, this last year needs to be updated. Well, with me gabbing, you never know.
Well, I understand that. Hey, update the new. Oh, I see. Mark Kleine texted me. I am deficient in my duties here.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Jeff.
Hello.
Before they put those cameras in there, my kids used to stand up. We didn't have bus monitors in the early days.
Uh-huh.
And so when they'd stand up, they'd get a brake check.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In the police business, we used to call that screen test.
Uh-huh.
Oh, dang, that stupid dog.
Jumped right out in front of the car, did it?
Yes, right there. It was almost like it didn't exist until I wanted it to. Oh, my. But well, I guess I'll just go with audio only and watch the. I'm interested to see what they say about the nets, Peter.
Yeah, well,
I'm wondering if they'll
sure.
bring you into it with a certain episode with Dennis.
Oh, stop it. I
Well,
will
I'll tell you
never,
what.
ever live that down.
Oh my God, that's an all-time best. You know, you could
Never,
not hate
ever,
Dennis. He
ever.
was such a nice guy, but by golly,
Yeah, I mean, he is still missed. I mean, Rick is great. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, Dennis was something.
Yeah, and anybody who talks at least as much as I do is noteworthy. So, but anyway, what's he doing now? Do you know?
Retired. Been retired
okay.
for quite some time.
Well, I would hope so. Yeah. But you never know.
I believe they are back in the St. Louis area, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Because that was home base for the family. So.
Well. Yeah,
I'm still friendly with Ann McCarthy, his daughter, because she worked at NSSL when I did, and then she went off to Chicago about the time I went off to Chicago, and we were friends up there. But I haven't talked to her in a while. Now that I think about it, so.
Well, glad to know, Dennis. I figured maybe he'd start talking about retirement, and by the time he was through talking about it, it'd be.
It's been a while. He's been out for a while because he had Air Force years, as well as Weather Service years. So I don't think he waited till he was 65 to go. I'm not certain of that, but
yeah. Well, looks like it's 9:30.
It does.
So I will stand by here and wait for the official announcement.
Okay, if everyone will take your seat,
there we go.
Get started. So I'm trying to multitask here. I always say that multitasking is actually a disaster because you can never do more than one thing at a time successfully. All right, so thank you all for coming today. We appreciate the crowd. We got a good crowd. We got a good setup. Looks like got plenty on. Looks like we got quite a few on Zoom. Those of you that can't get out, don't want to get out, you're welcome to join by Zoom. So we're going to start off on a little special note this morning. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Kleine. He's going to try to kill the feedback first, and then that's fine.
How many here knew Ken Ezadoa? Oh, good, more than I thought. Ken passed away. You missed that story in last March, March 3rd, and Mike went to the funeral this week. Appreciates that on behalf of all of us. But Ken was a guy that did a lot of stuff for cars. Ken was around when I started back in the 80s, early 80s. Most notably, he's the one that built the UHF repeater that we use today, the 443.7 repeater from that. Thank you very much. So he was a long time, hadn't been around a long time, but 70 years old and had a good life throughout the whole thing. Those of us that knew him well, got the chance to know him. He's one of those guys that if you knew him, he'd talk your ear off. If you didn't know him, you'd swear he didn't have a voice. He was kind of quiet. But we'd like to do a moment of silence for
Okay, thank you. Moving right along. Living any visitors today. I know we have one that go all the way from Clinton. Name, where you're from, and your call sign. Not necessarily in that order.
I'm Andrew King, I'm from Clinton, my call sign's 825.
All right, welcome. I met him at the Elk City Land Fest last week. We talked for an hour. Anybody else? Okay. All right, appreciate that. All right, so we're gonna go around the room and do some introductions. We're gonna start over here with Mark Klein.
Hi, I'm Mark Kleine, and 5H like you all here.
I'm Mark Clayton, Mark II, N5ACQ. I am flagship over.
Chris, K5JCM.
WS.
Glad your voice is sounding better. Lucky to go.
Jeff, KD5CKK. Dave, N5TDM.
Marty, KD5SSD.
Right.
Dummy.
It's not a dummy, that's a man.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, Rodney, I stepped on you.
KF5ETA, right?
Okay.
K5ATD, Bob.
Triple A, Tom. KF5QMF, David.
KF5BJH Aubrey.
KH5ALC, Chris. Whiskey 5, Hotel Lima Golf, Lee.
Larry, W5LSG.
A5F, Bill.
Ken.
K5.
Two Kens here.
Ken and Ken.
Ken, K8WGE.
That's far away now.
All right, Al. Good to see you.
Yeah. KF5OT.
Excellent. Thank you.
W5RG, Bob.
Good to see you, Bob.
KK6IPL.
Hey, Amy, good to see you.
KF5, RYA, Rick.
Good to see you, Rick.
K5RJL, Ron. Bill. K5SOF. Yeah, Mickey 42.
All right, good everybody, and I am Wayne, KK5IO, and I'm Zoom. When I call your name, wave at the screen. We got Mike, HHT. We got Mike, ASN. HHT. We got Glenn. Good morning, Glenn. And we got BYD Steve.
Wayne,
Thanks for joining. And ULK. You guys like that. Who is that guy? Who let that guy in? Yeah. The guy who runs off to Texas, you know, leaves us here. So, and then we got the wall man, Mr. Walls,
I'm the secret square.
in the center square. Yeah. And then where we at?
Here.
Yeah, I got Gary and now Jeff. Jeff jumped in there and screwed everything up. So EFF Jeff. Good morning.
Yeah, my ankle monitor's not working this morning, so I got to stay home.
All right, and then we got Lee, AF5BN, welcome.
Thank you.
And then AE5L, Al, welcome. Well,
Oh, sorry. My bad.
and KI5TFE James, good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Did I miss anybody? No? Then I've done my job. Okay. So at this point, I'm going to relinquish control to our vice president, who is the event coordinator, is going to introduce today's event.
Good morning, I am Mark, N5ACQ, your event coordinator for the club. We have an interesting program for you today. As you know, we have some pretty crazy weather here in Oklahoma. Last week we were 79 degrees, and yesterday we had a nice little snowstorm. But here it is, March. And as we get later into the month, and we get into April and May, you know what we have here in Oklahoma? We're all dodging hail and we're dodging tornadoes. So one thing that's real important in the amateur radio community is weather nets. We do a lot out there as far as keeping the public safe behind the scene. You see the meteorologists come on and they like to do their broadcast and get all hyped and show all the radars and technology that they have. But you have the people in the field out there that's actually monitoring in person and gets to see what's going on. And then relay it back to an actual location, a weather location, emergency operations center to allow them to relay information. Thank you. I'm in trouble. They relay that information to that operations center, the emergency operations coordinator, who lets emergency managers know what's going on in the area so they can get teams of people that specialize in taking care of public. So we need to make sure that the weather nets are all run smoothly and people know how to respond to those weather nets. That's why this program today. And today I'm going to introduce our Oklahoma section manager, who is part of today's team, Mark Kleine, N5HZR, along with his co-host on here, Phil Sinnett. Everybody knows Phil. He does a lot of nets, so he's real efficient at this. So I'm going to introduce Mark and let him start with today's program.
Let's see if it's on. Since Mark's already done the entire presentation, have you any questions? All right, we'll see you later. When is the dance? The dance starts now. First of all, I'm glad you all are here. Thank you all for coming. We've had a lot of questions on people doing weather nets, and we've always gotten weather views from outside of the club, and we really wanted to do one inside the club to try to show what we should be doing as a club in reaction to the net. So the focus of this is going to be on what we as amateurs do to support the weather nets and the weather service and how that happens. Phil is supposed to be assisting me being the bad cop. So if you may see him here, you know, running up to the front. Like they said, we're here for the weather service stuff. How many here have participated in weather operations in the past? Yay, big numbers. And that's good. We want to keep that going. SCARS is a Weather Ready Nation ambassador. That is a distinction with the weather service that allows them to send us information that we put in the newsletter that we use to help build the preparedness information for us. If you want to know more about the Weather Ready Nation status, that's at the bottom of the screen. That's the website URL. A lot of big companies do this. A lot of we do it in my office. Take that information and disseminate it out. It's a good program if you're interested. If you have an organization that deals with employees and people in the state, you might want to get involved with that as well. One thing I'm going to hit, I'm going to go back and hit, is that these slides and the presentation is available at the bottom of the page of w5nor.org/weather. So if you'd like to play along, you can pull that slides up as well. See what's coming in. Or if you get home and you want to see, gosh, what was on that slide? It's there at w5nor.org/weather. Big thing for you and me and everybody in the state of Oklahoma is to stay informed during severe weather situations. They say you're supposed to have 3 different sources, and I'll say none of them should be the bottom one. Everybody's like, huh? The good idea is to start looking at the severe weather stuff now, because what you see as biased or what you see as information differs among the sources every once in a while. We also need some different sources to come in, because depending on power situations, you may not have power to a radio or to a TV. You may just have access to a phone. be familiar with all of the tools that you have in front of you. We're going to talk about each one of these in detail as we go through them, but these are the big five that I pushed forward. What NASA, NWS weather radio is at 162.400. Does anybody here have weather radios at home? Who does not have it programmed with the right codes correctly? Okay, just me. The weather radio will actually sound if it gets in the county. That can get tough when something skirts the edge of the county. We had one the snow, the thunder snow event we had a week ago or two. There was a little tiny corner of Cleveland County, just like 57 feet, that was up in the warning area, up in that area, and it blew off the alarm at my house and couldn't figure out why. It was just the top of the county. So make sure you're having code set on that. Amateur radio, those are the three biggies here. For our area, 147.06, 145.410, and DMR 31.408. We'll talk about those later. Internet sources, my favorite is our friends at the Weather Service, weather.gov/OUN. OUN is OU Norman, and that gives us our area. That takes everything from us to the southwest. There are other areas. For Andrew, you might have to pull one from the Amarillo as well to get that part of the country. But other parts of the country have their stuff. These guys always have the up-to-date stuff. They have information from us. This one's last. Good place to go. Larry's got something up here with more details, but we'll choose them fast. Who here has M-Ping on their phone? Never heard of it. Who does not have M-Ping on their phone? Okay, while you're here, you can go do that. It's a free app on Android or the other one, whatever it is. And you can download, you can download that. You can download on that app and get involved with reporting. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And the final one is the broadcast media. And those guys are just random is the best thing I can come up with. So I don't work for Weather Service, so I don't say that, but watch what you see on TV. If you compare the three channels versus the Weather Service radar, the radar is very widely in the show. First off, we're going to talk about the NOAA weather radios. There's two things here. One is make sure the thing's programmed right so it'll blow off in the middle of the night, wake you up. Instead of having it for South Texas, which I had one of the radios from our shop that came in from South Texas and woke me up at 2 in the morning when a storm went through San Antonio because I forgot to change the codes on it. Not a good thing to do that. You would have thought what it worked? I would have thought it went off. No, you wouldn't have thought it went off. No, that's why it's really important for us to know that. Having that signal, you will get the codes from all over the country. So you're not sure where they're coming, you'll get some stuff. So weather.gov/OUN/radio, we'll talk about the radio frequencies all over the state. 162.400 is here. And you're out, you know what yours is out there? Probably not. 140, yes, 162.55. So there's different transmitters across the state. Last year, what was it, 3-4 months, they had a problem with that. They had an antenna fail, and they had to actually carve the antenna up to the top of the tower and replace it. But, yeah, Chickasha is also here as well. We should have a couple different sources on Wellman atmosphere. So that's a very good source on a good day. That's a very good sound source on a bad day. However, program your radios today so that you're ready. I'm always the guy that shows up at the storm, when the storms are going over. What the heck was how do I push the buttons to get that into my radio? Make sure you have that in on your radios and test it out very frequently. We do a Tuesday night net and a Tuesday night net. The Aries has a great way to do some tests. While you're on that test, bump your weather radio and make sure that you can hear the audio from. Good way to do those kind of things. We have, and the Weather Service has a great article on getting an external antenna. So if you're in an area that has a reception problem, I don't know if anybody does, I know we've got some for the city of Norman, places like recreation centers that have had problems getting a signal inside a building. Our friend Peter Core's son, Josh, has made some J-pole antennas with help from all of us Elmer and folks. And that information is at w5nor.org/WX radio. It'll show you how to build a little antenna. That's a little J-pole receiving antenna. It does a great job to increase your reception. A lot of those have an RCA jack on the back, so you need an RCA jack to get the signal to the device. Pay attention to that when you plug it in. Make sure it works. Local severe weather nets. How many here have been on the Aries Tuesday night net? Okay, wave your hand. You've been on it. Almost all of us have been on that net. That's awesome. That net is a weekly check-in net, and the main goal of that net is to make sure your stuff is prepared. We have multiple different options as backups. 146.88 is a backup, currently out of service. Got the antenna that's broken. It's out of service. Got an antenna that's broken and a power supply that's broken, so it's down currently. But the way we have our plan in Norman set is that 147.06 repeater is primary. The 88 machine is secondary. That makes sure everybody that has a VHF radio can still get on. Now that the dual band radios are getting to be more and more popular, 443.7 is a great option to do the network on it. The final piece is the 147.06 simplex. So should all of the repeaters get shut down, should there be a power case, we want to go to 147.06 simplex. How many people have the radios programmed for all of these frequencies and can get to them right away? Glad to hear it. Tuesday night, these are tests. So the Tuesday night nets are typically run on 06, but Bill will bounce them around to the others as required to do some testing. 145.410 is Oklahoma City, and I keep forgetting where that's at. Is it still on Cross?
I think so. I say that.
Because they raised the rent on those crossroads antennas. Everybody vanished from them, but I don't know if the state's still on that. But it's in that crossroads area, 145.410. Yes. 104th east of Bryant. I would think so, because they jack the rent up, and I know you can get it to HD. You can get it with minimal effort from you, which is good. That repeater is scheduled to be, I'll use my words carefully, visited by Weather Service personnel. So if there's a ham on duty at the Weather Service, they will be listening to that, and you will hear updates from that machine. That is a very good machine, and you can get a lot of information there. So those 5 are the places to be. Make sure you can hit those now, so you can hit them when you're in a severe storm situation. Something that's very new to the DMR. The Swear Bunch Southwest, yeah, they're converting mostly over the DMR stuff, but their Southwest is 147.03. Something that's very new to the DMR community, literally on the order of probably 6 weeks, is the talk group 31408. Anybody got that up programmed in their radio yet? Ooh, we need to work on that. 31408 is static linked on most of the Oklahoma repeaters. We're still getting a few of them turned on. But that talk group is set up dedicated for severe weather in the state of Oklahoma. So during some of this snow, this last one was a bust, but during some of the snow events in the last 3 or 4 weeks, there were people on there 24 hours a day that were catching the snow as it came in, and you could see the stuff leaving the state on the far side. So 31408, you can also pick that up off of Brandmeister online. So if you don't have DMR, you can actually listen to that at the Brandmeister news. Questions to help set that piece up, but that should be pretty easy. The state is active statewide during severe weather. So if there's an event, the goal is to push it through, and the goal is to start using that. There are plans to integrate DMR with the weather service directly. Nothing's there running now. May not make it, probably won't make it to this severe storm season, but there are plans working to get that done. Every Saturday morning at, oh my God, it's too early, 8 o'clock in the morning, is a weather net where the guys will get on and discuss the weather for the day, for the upcoming period. So if you want to get on and listen to weather or talk weather, jump on the 31408 on VMR, and you'll be able to listen to see what they're all about. Amateur stuff is something you should check, you should double check, you should triple check. How many people have gotten on the Tuesday night net without benefit of a tone or the offset or yeah, there's hands going up, or the battery not working, or something else that causes problems? Every Tuesday is that there to test those kind of things. I know I've grabbed talkies that don't have offsets. I've grabbed talkies that don't have jump codes in place. So practice those and check the weather radio. Internet sources, these are some good ones. Larry's got another one up on the screen that you really likes, and I forgot all about it. It's called WeatherTap. And that's weathertap.org.com. Weathertap.com. Is that a free one? That is a purchased one?
Yeah, it's like $6 or $7 a month.
$6 or $7 a month for weathertap.com. That's what you're seeing on the second screen. I guess we got a storm going through. That's the same storm we benefited from.
Now it's severe weather in Florida.
Oh, is there severe down there?
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, it's Florida. Got it. I thought that was Alabama. So severe weather in Florida. Click on something. Click on something there to bring up your weather warning. That will actually bring up the weather warnings and do that as well. Weather Underground has the same kind of piece, same deal. It's a free one, weatherunderground.com. They have a wonder map that is also something you can do the same thing with. Works out very well. Yeah.
Quick comment on the Weather Underground. How many in here actually have a weather station at their house? One that's wireless back to your house. Those are pretty cool. You go to Weather Underground, you can actually look up various locations around the area. So people who have those listed on Weather Underground and see what the weather's like at that location. So it gives you real time right there at that moment.
Weatherground doesn't change a lot since IBM.
Weather Underground has changed, is what you're saying?
I think, well, yes. IBM bought them.
Yeah, I did a model, but it's the same philosophy. The page might look different.
Basically the same, but I can't, it's different.
Yeah, it's changed the page. The page look up, but all the data is still the same. You can see, you can put in layers like Larry's got on the weather top. You can put in, look here, current weather and all that shit. Weather Bug is another one. There are literally hundreds of things that are out there. Ventuski, anybody here use Ventuski? Oh, I love it for the name. I have no idea why it's called Ventuski. It's probably Billy Bob Ventuski that did this. But Ventuski's big claim to fame is they show the weather of the wind maps. And I'm going to pull it up as a demo, but City Norman thinks it's an evil site. But it shows you the wind map. So if you're watching the wind vectors to see where the high-speed winds are going. I used it initially for balloon launches, when we did balloon launches. You can see where the winds are going. And that's a very good way to show that. So Ventuski's a good one that's out there. W5NOR.org/weather is a site that kind of combines all those things. We've got the local OUN products that come through that show severe and
Windy,
windy is another one.
is another weather, wind map.
Then they'll put Oklahoma Mesonet. I didn't think about Mesonet. Oklahoma Mesonet has got their sites that show 77 different looks at weather across the different counties in the states in Oklahoma. One of the best meso sites in the nation. Very good. Lots of places to look, and I know when you're in the middle of a storm, you can get inundated. One of my best ones for being in a storm in the middle of a fight is lightningmaps.org. And lightning maps show you actually the live lightning strikes that are coming in. And you see where that high area of electrical activity is, you know, without regard to whatever the rest of the shape of the storm looks like. That high electrical activity is always a good place to go find. It pops in things. And they use lightning maps? Yes. Isn't it amazing? It's amazing that you can actually see the dot on your screen before you hear the noise, if it's more than about 1.5 miles away from you. The signal goes from a receiver. There's a receiver on top of the weather service. It takes, I think, 9 different receivers to trip those off. It goes back to Germany, gets processed, and comes back to your phone or your computer faster than the audio can get about 1.5 miles from here. Truly amazing. There are not many detectors around here, is a statement, and that's good because we are the place that has the problems. You have to be a far enough way for us. Now, we are bad, we should put more of them up for other people to help the other folks out. But they have a network that's huge. And I've tried to get in there 6, 8 years ago, and they can't make their devices fast enough to do those kind of things. It's a really cool program. It's a lot of fun. If you want to build stuff, they have kits you can build them. Kind of expensive, but they'll MPing we talked about. Has everybody added MPing while we're sitting here? All right. MPing is a device that our friend Dr. Kim Elmore, N5OP, is the principal investigator on, and that is the place to be. If you want to go and report any weather conditions, you can click that button and that will get into the weather service faster than anything else on the planet. They have ways, and I listed there. They have test messages. They have rain, snow, freezing rain, snow, hail, wind damage, water spouts, tornadoes on the ground, flooding, mudslides, and reduced visibility options.
Now, that is mainly for reporting, not finding problems in the weather.
Both.
Okay.
So if you can report it, can you bring up anything? Anything not necessarily about what I got. You can report all of this information, and that's very important for the weather service to get those. It will take your position on your phone, and it will drop that into the map with just a few clicks. So if you're wanting to put something there, that is the place to go. That is the best piece for the weather service to get data in. To get data involved in place. There you go. It should be up at the top. Now, once you have the data in, it aggregates it and it will spit it back to you, so you can actually view the reports that are there. So you'll see each one of the little characters there that maps the data that matches the data that you had out for the weather radars, and you can see what's happening. If you click on any one of those events, you'll actually see what the event is. So click on those. If you click on them, you'll be able to see what the options are. So you can see the weather stuff. So if you're wanting to report, bang, you hit the button and it'll go in there and take off of that. If you do that, we will actually see it, and it will come through on the weather service. There are no reports for Oklahoma. However, there was one. Somebody up in the Enid area was playing with this 10 minutes ago when I set it up on the screen here. There's a test button. Yep, is there one?
Yeah, there it is.
There's a test button. And if you hit the test, it will show just a little yellow X on the screen. And that will prove that your system is finding your location and that it's going into the database back out.
When you open it up, it shows you where you're at.
It does show you where you're at. If
That's helpful, because
because you're never sure where you're at.
I lose myself often.
Yeah, we'll tie that on the little lanyard or that. But that's something, if you don't have in your arsenal, pull that out. Tuesday nights when you're on the net, pull out the invitation and take a look at it. So you can broadcast media, I joked earlier, well, I sort of joked earlier about the availability of information there. Oklahoma's got some of the better weather shows on the planet. 4, 5, 9, 25 have good information. If you're driving around in your car, if you flip to any of the Oklahoma City radio stations, if it's severe enough, they will have it all on the radio as you're zipping through. Hear all the guys telling their stories on the broadcast. Check multiple sites, check multiple areas, make sure you're in the right town. Do the right thing. Turn it off when it's ratings week. That is a very good thing. That is a very good one. When it's raining, you can tell when ratings are there. Whether it's, where they have snow again. We're at a point, can you drag the microphone over to Phil? We're at a point where Phil showed up. Thank you, Phil, for showing up. Appreciate you being here. And we're gonna start talking about the nets, the SCARS nets. And Phil is our resident, I don't know, what do you call yourself? Net guru, net coordinator, net coordinator. He's our favorite net coordinator, and he's the one that's got a lot of information and input on the local net side. So feel free to jump in as you wish. We're just talking about the different ways to get information. And then the next one is the weather net stuff. So do you have anything prepared that you would like to go, Your Honor?
Actually, I'll have to apologize to the group because I did not remember that I was supposed to do it.
Oh. Memory is a bad thing.
Hey, I got my note here.
He's
I
got-
retrieved 30 seconds ago.
But we're gonna talk about,
I can talk about that.
yeah, what we're doing. The big thing is what we're doing, how we start them up and how we, what we should talk about, we have to switch up on that.
This thing working?
There you go, now it is.
I guess it's working.
Yep. Talk about what you want to do, or who should report, what should we report. We've got weather, I've got the reporting requirements listed here as well, so.
Okay, we'll talk about the SCARS, what we call the Aries net, the real Aries net, not the practice net, on Tuesday night. So there's severe weather coming through Norman. And somebody decides, and we really don't care who, that the SCARS never should report severe weather. Supposing it's one of the emergency man.
That guy behind you?
The guy behind, yes. But one of the things they preach really hard is don't self-deploy. Well, if they ask us to go out and drive into a tornado, fine. Otherwise, don't do it.
Just for the record, David wouldn't ask you.
David wouldn't ask us to drive through a tornado.
That time I got to stop them.
Yes, yes. But if you're at home and you've got good information, they need it. And that's what we're here for. So somebody decides we're gonna open up a Aries net for weather reporting. We're a little bit like the fire department. The first guy that opens up the net is the net control operator. until we get a better. So
And that better guy's never gonna key the radio down and get on.
suppose, let's just suppose, somebody calls me and says, we need to open up an area net. So I grab my script, I open up the net, I give a little announcement spiel, and I ask for people to check in. So people start checking in. We don't have a role because we don't have any idea who may be available. It might be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's happened before. Fortunately, tornadoes don't go through on a schedule. They don't all come through at 7 in the evening. So sometimes people are not available. Unfortunately, my boss has an attitude that send me money, I have to actually go work. So in the
Or they show up.
at least show up. In the script, I'll ask area members, storm fathers, to check in with their name and their call sign. One call sign we use assigned call number. I was number 48. I never could remember that.
You did now.
And I had no earthly idea what anybody else was. So we put that, we are using call signs. But a lot of you guys, I remember the call signs. I'll ask for severe weather reporting. I'll ask that all traffic be passed through the net control operator. You've heard a lot of that spiel on Tuesday night. And I say that on Tuesday night, you get used to that. We'll ask for you to report severe weather. Are we up to that script? Are we up to that screen?
For the different reporting requirements?
There. 1 inch hail, high wind, currently a tornado on the ground, a funnel cloud, which is a tornado that's not quite on the ground. Everybody know what? How you tell a tornado on the ground? If buildings are flying up in the air, or you're getting arc flashes from power lines that have been blown together, you can report that as a tornado on the ground. Rotating wall cloud, persistent wall cloud. What the heck is a wall cloud? Well, you learn that in the storm training that you're supposed to get, right? Rainfall, heavy rain, flash flooding, trees blowing down, obvious damage. If you're looking across the neighborhood and roofs are coming off of the shingles are coming off the roof in your neighbors, they're probably worth reporting. We report that back to the emergency management. Now, it could be that, to say I'm in the middle of doing this, and Mark or Lee or Bill or somebody shows up down here at DOC, and what's the best place to have a net control operator in the EOC? So if they show up down here at the EOC, I'll relinquish that control to them.
If they're capable of it.
If they're capable of it, if they want it. A little bit like the fire captain out at the fire, he's the boss until she shows up, right? Something like that. But anyway, the net control operator shows up down here, he becomes the net control. And they'll announce that. And our job is to funnel information into the next control operator. And then they'll funnel that onto the national weather curve. There was a question raised once before, the weather curve has ham radio, licensed operator. Why don't we just call in directly? Well, because they've got a lot to do, and their cockpit activity is really busy at that point, and they don't want to hear from 50 others. They want to hear from one control operator that can call out and say, we have a tornado on the ground at this location.
And they're doing that now over chat.
Over chat.
The weather service has minimal licensed cams available, especially with remote. You guys working at the house, that makes it more difficult. But the NWS chat is what we use to backhaul that.
That keeps our channel clear. Okay, if David asks us to go out to a location, we can, we'll go to that location and report. One of my favorite locations is out on Highway 9, because I can see weather moving in from the west. And there's some high hills out there. You can see the whole west side. So you can give them about a 5-minute more early warning by being out there and saying, well, there's a tornado, there's a storm cloud over Blanchard moving northeast. And that gives them a little more early warning. So they like that.
Yeah, and then, okay,
962. Very accurate. Yes. What they don't want, what we don't want. I may call your call sign, weather report, please. Call sign, weather report, call sign, weather report. If it's not severe, say nothing severe. Now, there was a guy that called in and 85 UGO control operator. Yes, go ahead. Well, it's fairly clear here. We're starting to see sunshine. We had hail about 5 minutes ago and some heavy rain, but it's down to sprinkle now. And I'm not seeing any high winds. High winds are kind of dissipating. But there's trees blown down the block. How long did that take? Minute, 2 minutes. And this guy blubbering on about what's not happening. In the meantime, there's this other guy out here at 9 and 62 looking at a tornado on the ground, wanting to call it in. And he can't do it because I'm blubbering on about what's not happening. So please don't report what's not happening. Report what? Sheet. Report the severe weather that is happening. The area's net will stay open until EOC or someone tells us it's going to move past. You can close the net, and we say thank you very much. Net's now closed. If you're out, you can go back home. What else do I need to add about that?
David's point for himself. Doesn't like it. Doesn't like it. Doesn't like it. Doesn't like it.
It's hard to believe that my old age is catching up and my voice is going.
It's not gonna make it on Zoom. It's a problem.
Couple things on that narrative there. One, don't self-employ. I get older and wiser. I'm not a big NIMS fan anymore. You know, if I'm here in the EOC, I need it. If you're in the availability, you know, I don't obviously want you to put yourself in harm to get here. But if I'm here, then there's no doubt in my mind I need that, because I need someone to watch NWS chat, that's a big thing. I need somebody to answer the phone, somebody to watch the radio while I'm sending off my boss or city manager, whoever else. That's why don't wait on me to say, yes, I want it met, or Dave, or anybody else. I mean, you as a club make that determination, because I'm just not gonna live here. You know, David lived like 2 miles from his DOT. I live 21. So if the situation calls for it, your leadership needs to make that decision, make us clear whether that, not me. I may come in and capitalize on your asset, but I'm not going to, you know, very rarely do I call somebody up and say, hey, I need a weather net. Don't wait, because that by the reporting measures, I will also say, don't report. Well, they're showing on Channel 5. And documentation, whoever is going to be initiative enough to start a net needs to have a note paper right next to them. Somebody needs to record it. And that is the biggest thing I need to have happen here.
Tom, who, what, when?
Documentation.
Who, what, when, where?
Because I have to validate that against what the public safety side is being told through dispatch, and I assure you it's night and day. And your field of observation is within the parameter 360 degrees parameters of your house. If you're reporting, unless you clearly see down the block that Armageddon's coming, that's not your report. Somebody else's report. You know, don't generalize way outside that what you hear, see, think, unless you actually see it, or somebody else told you, because that just adds one more thing that we have to clarify. I had another thing on here, and I can't remember what it was. So that's my version. I mean, again, and oh, I know what I was going to say. I went to the Southwest workshop there, emergency yesterday. A few years ago, they started this program called 1DA, One Damage Assessment. Started in individual assistance arena, and now it's in the public assistance arena. And eventually here, I hope that we'll do a training session on 1DA. Download an app and put it on your phone, and you can record all the damage that you're seeing on an app. And it gets shot straight to also emergency management and consolidate all those things, spit it out and print it out, send it back to you. Well, that's there's some good things and bad things about that, like anything. So hopefully we'll get that some training.
And a great point. I appreciate your help, David. You want to give that to Phil. The big things, the big key things, we use a report in place. Stay where you're at. If we have enough people in Cleveland County, there's over 1,000 acres in Cleveland County alone, that we can usually solve any problem by somebody's house. There's been a couple cases where that I remember that reports come in that say Highway 9 is full of trees from 84th to 24th. And I live on 84th and 9, so I jump in the car and sit down Highway 9 at high speed, and there wasn't a thing on the road. So that was a special request to go out and chase something. It was after the storm, it was a damage statement. They were trying to figure that out. Don't go out and self-deploy. Everybody, Aries, all the rest of the world says don't self-deploy. If you're needed, you'll be pulled. Travel during the severe weather is discouraged. Obviously, some folks have to come down here to work the OC, but stay where you're at. Stay in your own shells. And anybody remember the words drive south? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Never lived that down.
Nor should he.
Or, yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point.
Never watched.
Yeah. So big thing is that David push everything through net control, make it on that list. You notice marble size hail was not there. You notice dime size hail wasn't there. We don't, 6-inch hail. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's more than an inch. We want to know about the more than inch. We don't need the other stuff. P size, hell, none of that stuff matters. M ping is the place for those kind of things. So put that app on your phone. M ping is the way to go on that kind of stuff. I can't stress enough what David did. Please do not relay any reports you don't have first-hand knowledge of. It makes us look really stupid when a ham reports blah blah, and then 30 seconds later on the chat comes in that Channel 4 says the exact same thing. And our guys were watching Channel 4 and rotating it around. So if you don't see it, we're not going to report it. It's not going to. It's just a waste of everybody's time. It's not there. We typically don't have time to do updates on warnings and watches. Make sure you get that from the other sources. If it's not an exciting day, you will get some of those that say a watch or a warning is coming out. The chat will give you advance warning if something coming out, doesn't mean it always does. And they say, we're going to put something out for Norman, and then poof, somebody overrides it and it doesn't go out. So we let the other two sources that you have pick up. If they want something from you, they'll ask for it, besides those reporting. Don't report power outage. My power is out. How many of those we get at a time? Everybody. 80% of the people. I mean, there's just a lot of people. That's not important. OEC and OG&E both have meters that report power outages. They know it the second the power goes out. It's poof in their systems, and they already have that. If you need some information, OG&E's customer service is available at that number, 405-272-9595, and OEC's is at 405-321-2024.
There's a footnote on that. Both OG&E and OEC have automated attendance. When you call in, they're going to talk to a machine, give them the message, and hang up. They'll get it.
Yeah, and it is already reported. You do not need to report power outages. Wayne.
I also have an app on my phone for OEC.
Yep, OEC has an app that you can do that with. Good point.
I think one of the things they do want though is high voltage power lines laying on the ground sparking.
Good point.
They want to hear that.
Yeah. You got some damage. That's in the damage clause. Report all that stuff. See, power lines down. We had some that I remember sending Lee out on 9 and the interstate, and they said, "We got to report there's a problem out there with the power line." He got out there and a semi caught one of the transmission lines. Boing. Yeah, it's bad over here. So, and my comment when I told him, he said, "I'll go out and do that." I said, "Well, if you feel comfortable, go ahead. I'm not telling you don't." He said, "I understand."
One more comment. If the power line's on the ground, not sparking, you're laying there, don't go near it. They used to work for the electric company. That power line may be hot, lay on the ground. Don't go near it, ever.
Okay. It is not dead until it is grounded and dead. And during a storm, nobody is grounded anything. So stay away from it. If you walk towards it, there can be a high voltage potential between each step. You can make a step and it can be 15,000 volts between your two steps. You figure out the resistance of your body and do the V equals IR stuff that Ron told us about the other day in the class. It's going to smoke parts you probably don't want smoke. Yeah, you have to turn your license back. You have to do that. Real quick story. Severe Storms Lab didn't know that. They had guys. I saw it on the video, 2 in the morning, watching a video of some guys doing some storm chasing. And I remember sitting back in the chair watching the video, and all of a sudden you come up and you see the power line on the ground. My thing, 2 in the morning, okay, they're going to back up, turn around and leave. Nope, you hear the door open. The guy's mumbling something, can't hear his audio very well. He goes back to the car and he picks up a voltmeter. Oh, you man. And he puts the voltmeter in the dirt and on the power line. Oh. I just about split. I can't believe it because there were 4 other people watching the same video and nobody understood how that was possible. So I found their boss the next day and I said, he was a ham. David Russ, everybody remembers David. He was a ham and I said, here's what I saw, this. His eyes got this big. and he found everybody that had a voltmeter and took it away from them. And he explained that's not gonna do it. But literally, it could be, I work for a power company, contract for a power company. We teach our guys to shuffle step if they're ever in a bad situation. It is that potentially bad that if you just walk forward and you're dead. DRT, dead right there. So not a good thing to play with. Bottom one's kind of fun. Poweroutages.us, anybody play with that one? That shows you real-time power outages everywhere in the United States. You can pick up by state, you can pick up by power company, it'll show you what's going on. So if you're seeing a storm go through, that's a really good one to watch how much damage shows up. I like that a lot. That does really good job. Back channel, we kind of hinted at this before. There are a number of us in the club that are in the NWS chat two-way system. It's on a XMPP or a pigeon program, if you know what those are. If you don't know what those are. We have direct access to the weather service folks and they see what we put in there and then we'll respond to us if there's a need for a question. Again, if you're on that chat, if you're one of those guys on that chat, don't say, hi, how you doing? Don't do the stupid stuff. I've seen it everywhere. You know, don't put your name out there so somebody else sees it. Report bad stuff, nothing else. Don't get involved with that. During a clear sky, they do it. Yep. Well, yeah, communications. Yeah. When there are other options to move data, but yeah, that's when. On that call, on that chat are academics, folks from universities, all the research guys, the media. You'll see the media folks sitting out there. They'll be saying, hey, we're seeing this on our radar. What are you guys seeing? And they'll compare the radars in that back channel. A lot of hams that do reporting for emergency managers and then emergency management folks are on that channel. So a lot of us are connected on those in real time. It is the backbone of the weather service. I can't say much, but I can say they're working on enhancing the amateur radio presence in the northern office. And that should be fun.
They also take what you say up there with gospel.
Right, they tend to know people. You know, if it comes from a train spotter, usually when you know Leo puts something, I'll put something in there. We state train spotter reports. So that they know this is not some Joe Blow off the street.
Because I've looked at the EOC and put something in there, and a couple of minutes later, it's going out over Channel 9.
Or that data is widely, because Channel 9 can see it, they'll push it on forward somewhere else. So that's got to be gospel. That's why we were so adamant about do not repeat information. Whether that's this is preparation. Make sure you're good on all the channels, the 06, the 88, back up on the UHF, and Phil will test those as we get to severe weather. They'll start bouncing around in different places. You should be able to, if you don't hear a net on one of the channels, look at those other ones. Look at 06, look at 88, look at UHF, and just keep flipping around until you find something. Make sure you have simplex operations program, and make sure you have an antenna good enough to operate simplex. If you got to operate an antenna that's good enough to operate simplex, you can hit repeaters, and that's what you need to do is make sure that you do that. So if you're on those nets where we test a simplex night and you can't hear anybody, you need to start working on the antenna to get going on that. You might want to do something and you're at it, so that it's not hanging off in the roof in the middle of the sensor. Victor has a one of those little tape measure yagis up in his attic that he uses just for severe weather days. Take a J attic, do something like that. Preparations, you also want to make sure you have what comment? Oh.
One of these Tuesday nights in the springtime, we'll do an Aries net on UHF and we'll do an Aries net on Simplex. And the purpose of that is to give you an opportunity to test your equipment, make sure you can operate there. Thank you.
And trust me, it will be chaos in a normal Tuesday night just because people are are doing something different. Doug Forsythe was a big weather guy on every frequency, on all this stuff. First time we did that, he was mad at himself the next week. I can't believe I couldn't make that happen. I had to read the book and figure out how to reprogram the radio. And you don't want to do that during the weather. No. Emergency radio power. This can be a huge, where's Peter Corey? He's not here. This can be a huge battery backup, solar powered inverter that powers your toaster and the radio. Or it can just be a talkie that has extra battery. You know, it does not have to be a huge, it can be a generator that kicks on. Lee's gonna say 15 seconds after the power goes off, he's back online with his remote, with his generator. That's great, but not everybody has a generator. So make sure you have a generator, make sure you have batteries. Flashlights are always a good thing. These things always happen when you can't see stuff. And more importantly, the one connector you need to tighten underneath the desk is gonna be the one you need a flashlight to get to. That's a thing. Fuel tank's full. If you got cars, make sure your cars stay full of fuel during these times. If you have generators, make sure your generators fuel, hydrogen devices.
Who's in the waiting room?
Pardon?
Who's in the waiting room?
Should be waiting. Is that waiting room?
Yeah, I turned it on because I got some people I didn't recognize.
They're probably in the waiting. Turn them on. Let them in. Let them in. Know your location and life's good on that. So that's prepared. Anybody have any needs that you don't have figured out for preparing for severe weather? We're here Tuesday night, 6:30 for Elmer night, and there's a lot of folks that can help you get going on that, figure it all out. Big thing is test. Go back to that. Last year. No, oh yeah, thank you. Know your location. Chris joked about it, but during the storm, one of the things that our net operators had said was, give me your closest, your mile marker section. And it was amazing. Out in Boonies, Highway 9 and 84th, I got that one down. But those folks in town confused where a section line is. Bury a section line is, Lindsay a section line is. Pull out that map, because in theory, you're not going to have the fine control in a bad situation. You're going to have street control. You're going to have all kinds of stuff.
How many people in here know their latitude and longitude?
From memory,
Oh, well, no, for their house.
35 dot.
How many people have ever looked at their latitude and longitude for their house? Do it. It's easy. Get your phone out. It'll tell you. If you've got a shelter, report that to the fire department when you register your shelter. That's how they find you. I've been in places where there is no street signs. There is nothing but no blades of grass. You know, not having anything to refer to for a landmark, won't help you. A GPS coordinate will help you.
Peter, there's the guys That's the guy I'm feeling. Good job.
Got a hacker on our
program. Typical net operating criteria. Tornado warnings, we'll get one up and running. Thunderstorm warnings. Great potential for tornado or thunderstorm warnings. Any event that requires organized communications. It could be not severe weather. It could be something else. A truck rolls over, something else. We've got lots of those. We are not only strict, there is no strict requirements. I've referred to it before as the hungriest one cooks. So if you think that you need a net, pull up the net and start it. If you need help, pull up the net, start it, and then call for help. Say, hey, somebody find me some help on this. And my phone usually rings or Phil's rings or something. And usually we say, what? Why are they doing a net? And then we look at the screen and the weather, and oh my God. It sneaks up on you. It's tough. So those are the reasons we started. How to get more involved? How many people here are signed up on AriesOK.org? Remember Aries? Put your name in there. You think so? If not, go there, log in. AriesOK.org/join will get you up and running. If you go sign up there, that way at least we'll have you
tag, so if we need help in Cleveland County. Question, yeah.
I'm glad I saw that. That's going to be part of my question, but just from the mere fact that we're part of the Norman group here, the club, does that make us a member of this area still, or do we have to maintain that answer the question here?
You need to be registered with areas. There's no membership involved. Any amateur radio operator is allowed to be involved in that. And make it happen. If you want to sign up there, go ahead and sign up there. You'll get some messages a couple times a year to remind you to check your information. It also is a place to put the lat long. If you want to put it in there, if you want to store it, you can go and pull it back and do it.
No, it's not.
You got something, Bill?
Oh, we're trying to calibrate his compass.
And you're close to the microphone.
Yeah, like 15 feet away.
No, Bill is close to the microphone.
You know,
The microphone's on.
It's all right. We like Bill.
yeah. Cleveland County Emergency Coordinator is Randy, randymm@md.com. W6 KPR. Give him a buzz. You can Phil Jr. Lee is always a good contact on that. It's LHG or HLT? Oh, it's HLT. Right. It's LHG. If you're what county are you in?
Grady.
If you're in Grady County, you can visit with our friend. I was going to say Lee Jr. That's not right. Our friend Larry.
He's doing a good job today, isn't he?
Our friend Larry, he's in charge of the emergency coordinator stuff. Grady County. Oh, very well. The tomatoes they grow are just for myself. Who's the coordinators out there in Clinton? Do you have any idea, Andrew? Mike Galloway? So, I'm sorry? Oh, Lonnie, yeah, Lonnie. Yeah, those guys out there are they're good. And you'll hear those guys on the DMR net. So as you start listening to this real weather, you'll hear voices from across the state. That's kind of fun. Put your plug, go ahead.
I'm the assistant coordinator for Cleveland County. If you are interested in getting further in depth into areas or wanting to work some, help us with nets, things like that, please let me know. I'll get you started on the right, training, because there is free training that you can get. And yeah, we need people that are serious about it.
We do have some open districts out there in the areas that would be real helpful to Mr. Mark Kleine as far as coverage. He will mention to you about that. Everybody we can get on there is a plus for the state.
The area site has a bunch of training opportunities, the FEMA stuff. That's if you want to do some more involvement, it gets you involved and you learn techniques that the FEMA incident control system, ICS, uses, and an incident command system that they use to make this happen. And it makes you understand how those networks work. And even if you're not involved in it, you can see how those commands work. They have very strict protocols. What they ran into places like Katrina was everybody was doing something different. So they're trying to get all the folks the right way. FEMA has a really good program and it's available on the areas located out there. Yep.
You tell them about the 100, 400, 700 that they can get online.
Those are those classes. Those ICS 100, 200, 700, and 800. There's also some other classes that are there. If you want to go farther, there's something called AUXCOM, Auxiliary Communication, and that's a training system here in Oklahoma. We work very well with the auxiliary communicator folks. I said the same speech a couple weeks ago in the class. We get along well with the RACES, ARES, AUXCOM, and all of that kind of stuff. Other parts of the country, that's a don't touch my duchy kind of thing, where the AUXCOM people won't talk to the ARES people. And in an emergency, that's just stupid. I have no idea. Yeah, it's really, I mean, you're RACES, I can't talk to you, I'm ARES. No, that you can't do that. And we have a very good
culture in Oklahoma on making that happen. So, it's a good thing that we all work together, and it's a good thing that Larry's sitting here from Grady County, and we've got Cleveland County here, and we work well with the Shawnee folks and all the rest of it. So, questions? We're at the back of our favorite slide, the end slide. Any questions? Anybody want to see anything demonstrated? Any questions for the group? Jeffrey.
Oh, man. I don't, it seems like we're always getting started with the net a little later, way later than we should. Like, there's been a couple of times Lee's had somebody else start the net while he was around here, and after shit has already kind of hit the fan.
Yeah, the question is on early startups on the net. They've been late. Sometimes they are. Problem is, whoever's listening has got to start up. That's where the folks that are listening have to get something going and make it happen. You know, if Lee's heading out here, he made the call to get somebody going and come out this direction. That's just fine. You know, this location needs a liaison, and net control needs to be, you know, off the net or off the site somewhere. So the guys here in the middle of the battle aren't crazy. It is not organized when you're here. So being kind of net control up and running together. The goal is to get them up and running earlier. Some of these things come screaming in, and you've never seen them over there. That's where we hope to rely on the folks west of us.
Well, this is one thing we can talk about a little bit more with David here. I don't know exactly what, I've been part of Galen's group. I don't know, the first 911 kind of that he uses is what? Things are 30, 45 minutes out, he'll send a text, phone call to all of us. Heads up, get ready to go, guys.
Yeah, and they talk about getting a heads up call early on. And that's possible. The thing is, we've got a much larger group that are involved in this. So that's a good thing. But yeah, early is always good. Any other questions? Otherwise, I appreciate your assistance. I really appreciate your assistance over the next 3 or 4 months when this gets crazy. And join us Tuesday nights on the net. Practice. If you have questions, practice. Talk about the questions. Come here Tuesday nights, and we'll help you solve any of the problems you've got. I really Tuesday night. Oh, Monday night, DM on that. DM on that Monday night. We'll get that addressed in the next part. But thank you very much. Appreciate your assistance.
Well, we want to thank Mark and Phil today for the program, and we're going to send it back to. We're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break real quick. We'll take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll get on with the meeting for today.
You can unmute yourselves if you want.
Yeah.
I've got the meeting locked now, so no one else can join.
Yeah, we got somebody.
Too late. I'm already here, Peter.
Yeah, I know. You weren't drawn on the screen though. And for the record, that guy didn't have he knows some exploit, so because I don't think I can do that. So
I wondered who was doing that. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, so they were exploiting some weakness in Zoom, and I put them all back in the waiting room, and somebody said, "Oh, let them in." So I thought, okay, and that's when they started drawing on the screen. So I just kicked them out and then locked the door.
Good.
You got the Android, right? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm going to do this though. Oh, I don't think the mic from the venue was going directly to a device. I think we were getting ambient noise.
Yeah, I think so.
I had my volume cranked all the way up and still could not understand a lot of that for the echo. So
Yeah.
whoever's talking needs to have a live mic, whatever that is.
Well, they did in the room, but ordinarily we get live. I don't know. I'll have to ask Mark.
Somewhere in the room is a live mic, and
yeah,
Bill is close to it.
Yeah, it's yeah. I don't know what was going on. I don't know. I have no idea. But it was.
The sound was better last time than this time.
Way better last time. You are correct. But it's Mark though, so do you want it to be loud? I don't know.
I could hear him fine, but it did sound a little distant.
It was, yeah, I cranked up the headphones. It was not, it was suboptimal, shall we say.
Yeah. Then of course, when you talk, it blows me out of the room. So
sorry, I didn't mean to.
But we can always turn down our sound.
Yeah, I can't, I looked and looked and looked for an ability, because Mark co-hosted me for exactly for those reasons, that intruders, but I looked for a thing that would let me increase the volume on that Hollywood Square box, and there isn't one. So I can mute it, but that's not really helping. You'd think we'd know how to do this by now.
Hey, Peter.
Sure.
Do you have any idea who might sell a little package of like different types of ribbon cables for miscellaneous? I've got a rig here that on this end has a tear across about 4 of the conductors. And of course, repairing one of these requires a surgical training and medical school and all that. So, and I thought about,
I don't know.
Thought about using a connection cable out of a computer, but
it's huge compared to what you're looking at, right?
Well, I can cut it down.
Yeah, some of those, I just bought a new little Intel NUC, and when it doesn't come with RAM or disk, and when I was hooking up the disk, the ribbon cable that connected that stuff together, there's no connector on it. It's just the plastic backing with the traces on it, and it just goes into a slot.
Right.
And it's like, oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, that's what this radio is that I'm trying to get back in operation. And I've done a lot of very, very tiny solder work, but I'm not going to take this on.
Yeah. That stuff, that part, that OEM part stuff sometimes shows up on, it ain't that big. That's a huge ribbon cable. That's bigger than the device that it goes in, man.
Yeah, well, I was going to cut this down and try to make something close to that and solder the conductors on this one directly to the boards. But once I got in there, and the soldering to the board is not my major problem. The major problem is getting the old connectors off.
Yeah, I think Wayne's speaking here, so. Oh man, can I not unmute him? Oh,
Okay, so moving
Sorry.
right along,
Oh.
just want to remind everybody dues are due by the end of the meeting today. If you haven't paid your dues, please see our treasurer, Mr. Larry, or go online, pay by PayPal, that thing online. It is past due as soon as this meeting is over today. Just letting everybody know. Okay, so reminding everybody, we have a website, w5nor.org. We have a YouTube channel, just search for W5NOR. Okay, so every one of the meetings for these minutes are online, or they will be online. You can go to w5nor/.org/minutes to look at those. Let's see, next on the line. How many of you are members of ARL? Awesome, that's totally awesome. The reason I ask is because we are an ARL affiliated club, and we have to maintain a certain percentage of our members in order to keep that designation. I think it's something like 50%, something like that, but we're doing good. Did you know that with your ARL membership, you have access to 4 magazines, not just the one you get in the mail? 4 magazines. You can get QST, get it digital online. You can get one called QCJ, which is about contesting. You can get one called QEX, which is QEX is about stuff, experimental stuff. There's one called On the Air, which is brand new. It's only been around a couple of years. I actually started reading that the other day, and I can tell you, there's stuff in there, there's good stuff in there that I wish I had 30 years ago when I first got my ticket. So if you don't know if you're an ARL member, then go to the website. It'll tell you how to view to get them online. And then I encourage you to read that On the Air. It's geared toward brand new hands, but it's got a lot of good stuff in it. So anyway, moving right along. A shameless plug for the ARL. There you go.
Question, thank you very much.
Go ahead.
How can you join ARRL so the club gets a percentage of the fee?
You see our section manager over there.
Can't do it online.
No, it's actually a kind of something that is in the works of being fixed because it's kind of messed up right now. But talk to Mark after the meeting. And he'll get you fixed up one way or the other. All right. Mark, can you put that slide up, please? There is one piece of business that we need to do real quick. These are recurring charges for items that we pay for every year. It is my fault that we missed in voting on this. So I need to go through it real quick. We have $154 for the equipment insurance for the ARL. We have a PO box rental, that's $80 a year. Liability insurance, $450 a year, which totals $684 a year. I need to ask for a motion to approve these. We've got
So moved.
We've got a second right there. Any discussion? Got discussions yet? Okay. All for this, raise your hand. Don't care which hand. All opposed? I saw a couple of you not even raise your hand. That's okay. That's okay. Okay, they don't care one way or the other. And the motion is carried. Thank you all. We're good for another year. I'm going to give it to Larry Goodwin. He's going to talk about the finance report.
Okay, we've had, and this is the end of February. We have $548 come in the month of February. And other income comes to about $567. So our bank account
we have $23,660 in the account. That's ready to spend, or to put back for equipment. But,
Emergencies.
anyway, any questions?
Larry? Can you hear me? Hello?
Okay, Larry. You done?
Larry, can you hear me? No, that would be a no. Larry cannot hear
We're
me.
up and running. The dogs have started barking again. So dog barking, life reports, help me at least narrow down some time ranges and hopefully lower some length.
Sure. All right, any questions about that? No? All right, we're gonna move right along with our nets. Bill, want to talk about the 10-meter net?
Join us Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Central Time on 28/4/45 Riverside Band. Come and join us.
All right, thank you, Bill. Jim's not here. Let's catch up on that real quick. This is where I get my exercise, which is not a bad thing. All right, Mr. Phil. Can you say something about, remind everybody about the Aries net and what's it, magnet?
The Aries net happens on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Normally on the STARS repeater. It is a preparedness training drill for emergency net procedures. The first of that net is to give you an opportunity to shake down your equipment and make sure you're able to operate on the repeater or on Simplex or on UHF. And we will exercise it in the springtime. We'll do one on UHF, we might do one on Simplex. And like Mark said, it was bedlam, but I'd rather have bedlam on the Aries net as to have bedlam in real life if the repeater goes out. In the old days, Mark and Ed, I used to have no control of that repeater. I wish I had it again because we just turn the repeater on. And that really gets everybody petty for a while. But the repeater might get the power of the county barn goes off, the repeater goes off, and you operate. So that's why. That net happens normally at 8:30 or right after the Aries net Tuesday night.
No. Matt,
Monday.
Monday through Saturday at 9.
Back there. The net got to get quite late this morning. Every morning, 9 o'clock, the STARS repeater. It is a call in, check in, rag shoe net. Everyone can just check in and talk about anything you want to talk about.
Done?
That's true, because if you look up the word simplex, there's five different definitions. My definition of simplex means one-way transmission only. But in the ham world, we can use the word simplex associated with radio repeaters, where we normally transmit at 147.660 and the repeater output we receive at 147.060. When we say we're going to do simplex, that means we transmit and receive on 147.060, and there's no repeater involved. It's just straight, what I used to call half duplex. It push talking and everybody's on the same frequency. So you have to set your radio at home channel 1 for the repeater where you transmit it 147.660, and channel 2 for the simplex or half duplex or talk around or whatever you want to call it, where you transmit and receive on 147.060. And for the record, no PL tone is required. for fence line. It is required on repeated frequency.
Thank you, sir. All right, appreciate it. Danny, what about the gossip net?
Oh, way up there, okay. Yeah, I thought it was the antenna. The gossip net is at 8:30 on Tuesday, immediately following the carriage net, or at 8:30. Hey, I'm friendly net, talk about whatever you like. And come join us, having a lot of fun up there. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you, Danny. Danny's a trooper, have a problem with the voice, but he's still willing to go. All right, so Lee, talk about the DMR net, please.
DMR net is every Monday night at 8:15 p.m. on talk group 3140 on DMR. It's a statewide net, but we also have people come join us from all over the country. We always try to have a training session during each check-in, a little 5-minute session where we talk about a varied number of different things, try to help people out with DMR. So if you're interested or if you have DMR capability, please join us Monday nights, 8:15 p.m. Talk group 3140.
Awesome, thank you, Lee. All right, so Jim's not here, so I'm gonna put in a plug for the 6-meter net. 6-meter net, Monday nights at 2000 hours at 8 p.m. for those of you that don't know. 50.200. And it's not FM, it's a single side. 50.200 single side. If you got some way to get on 6 meters, we invite everybody. Everybody's up. All right, so let's move right along to the lawman, Peter Laws. Talk about the siren net, please.
Can you hear me? Over. Are you able to hear me?
Wake up,
Over.
Peter.
I'm up. Can you hear me?
Peter Laws.
Yeah, I'm speaking, but you can't hear me.
There he comes. Wake up.
No,
Peter,
I'm
talk about the siren net, please.
I'm here, but you don't hear me.
Can't hear you.
Hello.
Peter is talking.
Yeah, I'm talking. You just don't hear me. What was the question? Can you repeat the question?
What about the siren net?
Can you use that in a sentence? No, I'm teasing. Every Saturday at noon, the members of the Central Oklahoma Emergency Management Association, the cities that make up that organization, test their sirens in a coordinated manner at noon. For the cities of Norman, Moore, Noble, and Newcastle, we have a net where we have spotters, or well, not spotters, observers that adopted their local siren. And if that siren sounds, they call in and report that. If it doesn't sound, they also call in and report that. We keep a tally of that. That information is passed on to the appropriate emergency management personnel for each city. As I say pretty much every time I'm invited to, we are not looking for reports of I hear sirens. We are looking for I hear siren 54 loud and clear, or something to that effect. Test good is fine. If it fails, we would like to know what you heard. Did it just make a little burp noise and stop? Did it not sound at all? Did it make some weird funky noise? We've had all various combinations. In other cities outside of Norman, like Moore and well, actually all the other cities that we do, they have electromechanical sirens in addition to electronic sirens. And we like for the observer to be close enough to see that it is rotating. These are the thunderbolts and whatnot, the electromechanical sirens. If it is not rotating, the city needs to know that, because they'll need to, it may sound and not rotate, or it may rotate and not sound. Either way, that's vital information for the cities involved. So we do that every Saturday at noon, unless it's like raining or snowing or something. Then generally we cancel. If you're interested in that, send an email to siren@w5nor.org and we'll get you fixed up. On the screen there, you see a tally report of how sirens have been doing lately. Siren 2 has been a problem lately, and I think, what was it, 53 this week we're going to look at. There is two-way communication between us and the Galens and the David Grizzles of the world, and if they have a particular siren that they're interested in, we'll try to get that covered and get some reports on it. Good net only lasts like 15-20 minutes. Pretty quick. It's a roll call net. So if you're on the roll call, we'll call you. If you're not, we'll still take your report because we solicit those at the end. Lots of stuff on the Siren webpage, w5nor.org/siren.
Okay, thank you. That's truly to the saddle for today, so I could talk to a lot of you online on the coax. All right, so a week ago this past Thursday, we had a really good test session. People passed. So I'm gonna switch over to Peter Laws and let him talk about the DE test session.
Wow. Oh, me again? Can you hear me? Is this thing on? Hello?
Just stay awake.
Okay. I was awake before. You just couldn't hear me. Yeah, we had a big test session. We had 13 of 14 candidates were successful. We have 5, count them, 5 brand new technicians listed there. That was exciting. 2 of those guys are brothers. I think it's Kevin and Brian are brothers. And if you slide down a bit, we had the next 4 guys there upgraded their licenses to general. So that was pretty exciting. Darius, despite having an 8 call, actually lives here in Norman. And then we had 4 more guys upgrade to amateur extra. So, and 2 of those guys, Aaron and David, that's actually a father and son deal there. So yeah, it was a great test session. It's really fun for us, the examiners, when everybody, well, we had one guy that wasn't successful, but it's great when everybody goes home with what they wanted to go home with. So yeah, it was good fun. Next one's April 7th, then May 5th, and then whatever the first Thursday in June is. I forgot to add that on there. First Thursday every month, Firehouse. While I'm thinking about it, Laurel VEC, through whom we are coordinated, does not charge the allowable cost recovery fee, and they never have. The FCC has been directed by Congress to collect fees for license applications. The FCC has gone through the rulemaking process, and they've issued the report and order, and they even said it will start on this date in 2021, and it didn't, and it still hasn't. So there's still no $35 fee for an application. I don't know why that's the case, but hey, take advantage of it, right? So right now, no fee for getting your license, no fee for upgrading your license.
Okay, awesome. Appreciate that. And the next test session that's on April the 7th will also be, hopefully, the people from our tech class.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that's going to be a plus or minus as to whether or not people pay attention in the tech class. So speaking of that, Mark Kleine is going to talk about that.
Nice segue, man. We should do this for business. We have a tech class up and running. We've had 3 sessions so far. Anywhere between 4 and 10 folks are involved, depending on who shows up. It's getting more and more popular. I think we got 2 more that are supposed to come up this week. We're on week 4 next week. Ken Sanborn is going to talk about propagation in antennas this next night. You are all welcome to come and listen. You know, if you're licensed, you're welcome to learn something as well. It's easier to learn.
Yeah, you let me.
Yeah, we let me. Even you learn more even after you get licensed, and that's really good. It's at the Moore Police Department in Moore, Oklahoma. It's an entry issue. There's usually a sign on the door with the number to call. If you don't have anybody at the door to get there, it's a secure after-hours place. Nice facility. It's their EOC. If you want to come see how that EOC is laid out, that's a very fun thing to do. So, so we're at week 3, so 4 more weeks to go, and then we get the test. So, a lot of good interest in that group. Police officer, librarian, and all kinds of folks. Glad to have them. Do you want me to chase on to the Green Country is coming up next second Saturday of the month, 8th and 9th of April.
we have moved the SCARS meeting. Last month we voted to move it. So you are welcome to go up to visit the Green Country Hempfest. Hempfest is a place where you can go learn stuff, buy stuff, sell stuff, and waste money, waste time. That kind of thing. So that's going to be April 8th and 9th. It's in January, our club voted to pick up a couple of tables at every Hempfest in Oklahoma. We got those in Elk City, and we had some stuff that was sold there. I think Mark made the big sales out of the day, if I remember right. Well, Mark or my book, which I don't forget. It was tough. He was selling my book right and left. So if you want to come to these Hempfests and you will have one or two things that you want to sell, feel free to price them and bring them to the group. Put them on the table and make sure that you have them priced correctly. Watch them, make sure you're there when they're ready to sell. But the one in Claremore should be huge. The one in Elk City was about half of last year's, and I don't understand why it was smaller. But Oklahoma City or Tulsa's already for the Claremore one. It's coming up April. There'll be a bunch of folks coming from this area, so if you need rides, get your hands up. Somebody will, I'm sure, help you out.
So when's the meeting?
When's the meeting? Is a week after.
April 16th.
16th. Good question. 16th instead of the 9th. So,
You have a question, Phil? You have a question, Phil? Okay, you had this look on your face like.
that's constipation.
Oh, well, watch that guy back there. I think.
Good Lord.
We'll make sure that it's on in the newsletter, Mark, will make sure it's in the newsletter and on the webpage. We'll talk about it, try to talk about it on the nets, just kind of remind people, don't forget.
Right, and somebody's alarm went off. We already have reserved 2 tables for the event. These tables are 8 feet long. So if you got stuff to sell, drop it down, you will be responsible for that stuff. Go off and leave me with it, I could sell it for $2. So you don't want that. Anything else, Mark?
No, I think I'm good. I could go all week, but I'm not good.
Okay.
Elmer night, I guess. Tuesday night, 6 to 11.
Go ahead and talk about Elmer night.
Elmer nights are still going huge, even though we're doing the class. They're in this building, 6:30 to 9. Where tons of projects, lots of people bringing stuff to be fixed, repaired, or understood, misunderstood. It still amazes me how much cool stuff shows up that we get to play with. And 6:30 to 9, feel free to come on out. And Lee will have the show and tell, I'm sure, again.
I had a question posed to about if people would be interested in a basic BMR class.
A basic BMR class.
Wow.
We haven't done it in a while. Is there any interest in this room for a basic BMR class?
So there you go.
Okay, that helps Mark get a class. Thanks, Lee.
All right.
One more. Thanks. I can roll there.
Okay. All right. Peter Laws,
Yes?
talk about Amazon Smile real quick.
Amazon's. Oh, $157. Just went into the treasury. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sent it to the exec list, but I'm not on that exec list anymore. So I sent it to Ed and said, please pass it on. And I don't know that he understood that that's what I was trying to do. Yeah, we just got another disbursement the other day. If you use Amazon, you can use smile.amazon.com and it will say, hey, who do you want to be your charity? And you can say South Canadian Amateur Radio Society, Inc., an IRS 501c3 charitable organization. And we will get a tiny percentage, like 0.5% of your purchase will go into the club treasury. It doesn't cost you anything. It comes out of Jeff Bezos' pocket. And I'm sure he gets a 10 times that amount in tax deductions, but whatever. And it actually pays off. We got our quarterly disbursement was $157, which included the holiday shopping period. So we've done pretty well since we started doing that and started doing the associates thing, which we still do, where we get if you buy one of Mark's books through our website, we'll get a cut of that. Again, doesn't show up on your bill, comes out of Amazon's pocket. And those pockets are very, very big. So try to get as much out of them as you can. I think we're over $2,000 since 2009. So it's painless. I'm not telling you to choose us over your other favorite charity, but you should use Smile to support some charity. And if you don't have a better one, please choose SCARS.
All right, good deal. Thank you, Peter. Appreciate that. Okay, real quick, we have SCARS stuff. We have hats, we have all kinds of stuff. You can find it on the website. I think Mark's got some coffee cups over there. You know, they're going for a reasonable price of $50. No, I'm just kidding. $15 for the coffee cup, unless inflation is taken over. But Rodney right there has some hats. Talk to him if you want a hat. I don't know what colors he's got left, but if we need to, we can order some more. Right up here on this podium, you'll see a display for badges. You see a lot of us have badges around here. We have a vendor that we get our badges from. She's a really nice lady named Stephanie. And I talked to her just a couple of weeks ago. And she sent me some order forms here if you want. Send an email to her. Send your order form by email. Tell them you were SCARS. Tell them the call sign, the name, what you want on the badge. And then she'll send you a bill of PayPal. Color. Same color, yeah. Up here on this display, I'll show you the color that's better. And then you can pay by PayPal. And I did that. She cranked them out the very next day after I ordered them. So that's pretty cool. I think I've ordered like 4 of them so far. Anyway.
And if you order, we can pick them up and you won't have to pay shipping.
True. I forgot that point. Thank you, Rodney. If you order by email, you can make arrangements to meet with her. She lives in Moore, and pick them up, and you can save shipping. Now, if you order them through her Etsy website, you will pay shipping. So that's a thing that if you want to order some, and then as a club, we can get orders together and order them. And then I don't mind picking them up myself, or somebody will pick them up, and then we'll have them for the next meeting. Anybody have questions on that? You got the mic in your hand, you got something to say? I'm about to adjourn this thing, so he didn't come back pretty soon, he just has to up. Okay, has anybody had any recent diets? No, nobody's been radioactive?
Brazil.
Brazil? Did you get some nuts, the Brazilian nuts?
No. Yo-yo.
Awesome, awesome. Anybody got any, go Bob?
I don't know, the bank have really been open good.
Yeah, the vans are starting to open good. I monitor this Facebook page as 10 meters, and every day it's up and down, but every day there's openings on 10 meters, and people are really getting out there, and hopefully this cycle 25 will even do better. 17 is doing good. Anybody else got a comment on that?
We have a heck of a solar storm that's going to hit us on Sunday, I think.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
My name, Jose Jimenez. No.
Okay, good deal. All right, so.
Name is Jeff Wyke, KJ7EFF.
I don't know. You haven't used it.
I ran the radio.
Thank you, Jeff. Mark has got something.
I'm gonna make a quick promotion, but I think it's important. Anybody here that is a tech, wants to be a general, anybody here that's a general, wants to do extra, wants to do DX, that's picking up. Mark does have some books. These are the books. Yes, if you look at that on there, it says that the tech is good till July, but that's still time off and everything else is good for another year or two. These books are only $5. And the great thing about these books is they've got just the question and the right answer, just the right answer underneath it. And if you read these books, you can go take the test and make Peter Ross happy. So you want to do that, you want to do this, if you want a book, come get it from Mark. And it will help you be able to do more things through it.
All right, awesome. Anybody got anything else for the meeting? No?
Somebody doing their test on anything. That's the map. Somebody here.
Okay, then I will call this meeting adjourned, and I'll see some of you on Saturday.
Peter,
Yellow
you still there, Peter?
I am.
Jeff here. I found a source for that ribbon cable on eBay.
Aha. Yeah, that stuff shows up sometimes because somebody will, I don't know, clean out a Chinese factory or something, and it all shows up on eBay. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, there's a ton of it there.
There's a what?
There's a ton of it there. I don't know why I didn't think of that before.
Yeah, it's strange. eBay's a strange thing, but you can get that kind of stuff there sometimes. So
Yeah.
and sometimes it comes from China and it takes forever to get here, but you know.
Yeah, this is not from China, and I should get it by March 24th is what they're saying. So
It's in China, even though they say it's not. It's taken 2
okay.
weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks, right? Anyway, whatever. You're going to get the part you need. That's the important thing. So
yes, indeed. And put the radio back together.
yeah, some of those new ribbon cables. Holy cow! I thought I'd pulled the thing out of the connector, and I thought, God, it's a brand new computer, and here I busted. No, there is no connector. It just fits in there with friction. Weird stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, this is a Anytone radio, and
Right.
I tried to source the company for the ribbon cable, but that ain't happening. So I'll get a piece by eBay, and hopefully that'll work just fine.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm happy now, and I think that's important.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh, what do you think the problem was? Why they couldn't hear you?
I think it was volume on their end because I saw a slider go by where they turned something up on the screen. So I don't know. They didn't have the audio hooked up from the station, the fire station, the way they usually do, because we weren't able to hear them really well, and evidently they couldn't hear us very well. So
yeah,
something was different, and it wasn't really working, but it's done now. So, and I did mute them right now because otherwise all we would hear would be murmur, 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 murmur. So,
which sometimes is better.
Well, sometimes, yes, yes.
All right. Well, have a great day, brother.
Yeah. All right. You too.
We'll see you when the sirens blow.
You bet.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Oh, you know what? I had the unmute thing locked so that you weren't able to unmute yourself. That's my bad. Sorry. No, I had that set right. No, allow participants to unmute themselves. No, I had that set right. Okay. Everything's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
So it sounds like there's a lot of local interest for DMR stuff. I might.
Mike Salem, who is a local attorney, but did his undergrad as a double E at OU back in the 70s, and has been interested in repeaters since then, and owns and lets us use the 8.8 analog repeater, which is down right now. Put in a DMR, UHF DMR back. When did we do that? I want to say that was 15, might have been 14.
Yeah, I see it on the repeater page.
And that's up in both of them are up in the penthouse on the top of physical sciences. And I used my connections. I'm glad the repeater went in then and not now, because I don't know now that it would happen, but got network connection. I emailed Gabe and said, here's the deal. This is what amateur radio is, blah, 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 blah. Here's what we're trying to do. And he said, oh yeah, my grandfather was K5, something. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And we got it hooked into the network. And it's the DMR is, we've got a D-Star gateway at the Weather Center as well. And that's a much more hairball system that requires a PC and all blah, blah, blah.
Right.
The DMR thing, it's a Motorola, what's their trademark for DMR? God, can't even remember. Anyway, it's a one-use server that happens to have a giant end connector on the back for the antenna. I mean, it's plug and play. Wow, it's quite plug and play. We had to get into the web interface on it and set stuff up. But once you point it at the server on the DMR network, initially we were on a different one, but now we're on something called Brandmeister. Once it knows where you are and who you are, and you set up the parameters at their end, it's all pretty much automatic, and we have access to all the talk groups and everything. A lot of that's managed through they don't call it a gateway. I can't remember what the name of that thing is. Conference bridge is what they call it. And then it just works. It's a DMR is normally used in the commercial world, and it's been adopted and adapted by the amateurs over the last 10 years or so. And
right.
It works really well. The best thing about it, it uses the concept of talk groups, which is really just looking for an address in the header. And you listen for certain, or you can open it up and hear all the talk groups that are active. The cool thing on the repeater is that it is TDMA, uses a 2-time slot deal where it basically just flips the transmitter back and forth between two different essentially logical channels, and it's at a fast enough rate you don't hear that on the radio. So you literally get two different voice paths simultaneously for the same set of equipment. So it really is like having two repeaters at the same time. It's pretty cool. Technology-wise, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've the IC7100 has D-Star capability. So I've been looking into that a little bit, but yeah, the price of those radios has gone up. It's interesting looking at the difference between like a warehouse outlet type of situation versus eBay, because on eBay they're actually more expensive right now.
Yeah, eBay is, you can't jump at the first thing you see on eBay if you're looking for something. You got to watch it for a while, because every once in a while something will show up at the price you want. So
yeah, I'm not terribly great at setting up and following alerts like that. I'm not quite that dedicated, but if I wanted to make the 3-hour drive down to Plano, there's the ham radio outlet that's there.
Yep.
They supposedly have them there in stock, and with mail-in rebate, or I don't know if it's mail-in, it's like online now. Right. But with rebates and everything, I could get it for just under 900, but
that's a pretty good price for that radio.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, I'm having a little bit of like, I don't know if it's FOMO or kind of rationalized FOMO, because a couple of months ago, around the holidays, it was 700 for the same radio. But since then, they've had the discontinuation, and I'm sure that people were trying to clear things out for the new year.
Oh, sure.
Tax stuff as well. So, I mean, yeah.
Huh.
So, I was
$700 is a really good price for that radio.
Yes, yeah.
And 900 is still a good price for that radio.
and I mean, it might come around to the decision of, do I want to, like, am I really tied to ICOM, or do I want to look for something similar by different people, or save up for something else that might be just as good? I still also have to take the general, so.
Yes, you do need to do that. But that the general is not, it's not terribly, it's not much more difficult than, I'm not saying it's not more difficult than the technician, but it's not much more difficult than the technician test. The extra test is quite a bit more difficult. I ain't gonna lie. But the general is not much more difficult than the technician. You still got to study, you still got to, you know, memorize the stuff. But the neat thing with general is it gives you access to all the bands except for little slivers on a couple of them. I mean, literally a couple of them.
Yeah, if I want to get up on 20, I've got to do a little bit of studying.
Yep. Yeah, the payoff, if you look at the payoff for extra is like, yeah, bragging rights. Okay, sure. But yeah, I don't know. Operationally, you know, if that's what you want to do. I mean, I did it, but if you look at where the money's in general, man.
Right. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking that, I think in that 7,100 was in the $1,400 neighborhood when it first came out.
Yes, I think MSRP right now is list is 13 something.
1395 or something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and in most places they'll say that the they'll say that the MSRP list price right now is like 10 something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I can get it down to like just under 900, that's not bad. But
no,
yeah, I really do regret, because I don't know, looking at other big purchases and things, going to New Mexico is more expensive than I thought it was going to be. So
okay. I don't know where the camera's going. Oh, camera just went to Mark's face there.
Well, anyways, I want to go ahead and hop off.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hit the big red button and kill it for everybody. So
that sounds good. Well,
all right, man.
I'm tuned into the because it's, what is it, 443.700. Yeah, I'm tuned into that, so I'll be listening.
That repeater has tone both ways, so you can actually set up a receive tone as well, and the repeater will come through. So.
Okay.
VHF is not like that. We had it initially set like that, and unfortunately the repeater could hear itself, and that was the quick and dirty fix to end that, was to just tell it to stop listening, to stop transmitting the tone. You have to transmit a tone to it for it to let you through.
Right.
But it was also transmitting a tone back to the mobile units, and you could set a tone to keep noise out. And we had to turn